Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile 2 video, and in this one we're going to talk about the Mercenary class we're going to have access to in the early access of Path of Exile 2 launched on December 6th. Now this is essentially your classical gunslinger thrown into the World of Warcraft Ray class, and given a crossbow. It's an ammunition-based class, which is a brand new playstyle to the game, and basically you can have a gameplay style similar to that of a trap-like or mine-like in Path of Exile 1, with the addition of you changing ammunition that changes the way your crossbow behaves. Now this ranges from things like you shooting out grenades, which explodes, because that's kind of what grenades do, and you can change to rapid-fire assault rifle-like gunslinger style shooting projectiles as well, going from armor breaking stuff and then many other types, including elemental ones, creating icicle walls and ice walls and frost walls, whatever you want to call it, to explode them to do massive AoE damage. So there's a lot of different ways you can play the Mercenary, and it looks really interesting. I'm personally quite excited to try this out. But in this video, I wanted to talk about the ascendancies. The choices we have there is the Gemlin Legionnaire as well as the Witch Hunter. So let's start with the Witch Hunter, shall we? But before we dive into the Witch Hunter, I do like to ask that if you find yourself enjoying this type of content, I would appreciate it very much if you hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments below what you think of the Mercenary class. Let's dive into it. So there's been a few nodes being revealed. I believe it's this one here on the left-hand side that gives you Culling Strike, I believe. But the ones we've seen here on the reveal stream is Witchbane, located on the fourth point on the left-hand side here in the middle, which is enemies have maximum concentration equal to 40% of their maximum life. Now, break enemy concentration on hit equal to 100% of damage dealt. Enemies regain 10% concentration every second if they haven't lost concentration in the past 5 seconds. So what this is doing is actually preventing the enemies from spamming their abilities. You can think of it as basically stuttering them or staggering them without that being a stun-like feature. It's more of them preventing them to use their actual big abilities, which can make boss fights a little easier. It's more of a bossing-themed kind of ascendancy node. The other node is Judge, Jury, and Executioner, located in the middle section here on the first 2 points, which gives you Decimating Strike. Essentially, when you first hit an enemy, you will do a ton of damage in this. This was shown in the reveal on one of the bosses where you chunk off, I believe it was like 10% of their HP or something, I believe, on the boss, unless I'm mistaken. But it was a large chunk of damage. And this, combined with the Culling Strike that you can get access to, as we've seen in another reveal, was basically allowing this kind of class to be very focused on bossing specifically. Another node you can get is on the right-hand side, as shown in this image, which is Obsessive Rituals. This grants you the skill Sorcery Ward, which essentially is covering you versus elemental types damage or spell-based damage. However, it gives you 50% less armor and evasion rating. How well this will work as a defensive mechanic, I'm not so sure, because dropping 50% of your armor evasion, well, now you're really kind of lost. You're basically left with very few choices defensive scaling mechanics surrounding the defensive layers in general, such as CI, for example, or Mind of a Matter. But you don't really have any sources of mitigating outside of armor and evasion to dodge or block. Dodge or mitigate physical damage. So you're gonna have to work a way around this little downside of this ascendancy choice. We'll see when we playtest this during the early access, of course. The other node revealed in this in the reveal stream is the fourth node here on the right-hand side. It's a 2-pointer, which is Zealous Inquisition. There's 10% chance for enemies that you kill that they explode, dealing 100% of their maximum life as physical damage. And this chance is doubled against undead and demons. Now, a couple things to point out. This is also referred to, or this mechanic is referred to as Explodey in Path of Exile 1. This is a very sought-after and very popular modifier to have on, say, Crusader-influenced chess pieces, where you have a % chance on every enemy that you kill that they will explode, generating or emphasizing on massive increase of clear speed power creeping. However, in this case, those modifiers from the Path of Exile 1 only dealt a very small % of the max HP and damage, whereas in Path of Exile 2, the Zealous Inquisition is dealing 100% of the max life as physical damage, which is quite drastic. So this is a very heavy clear speed focused ascendancy node. 10% chance, 100% damage, and then double the chance against undead and demons, kind of putting the class into the idea that this would be a good class to focus on farming specific kind of content or biomes in the endless infinite Atlas system that they're going to have in PoE 2, where you're fighting undeads and demons, essentially. It's also important to point out that the Beyond mechanic, which nowadays spawns the former Scourge mechanic monsters, are actually counted as demons, which means that this kind of class could be a very, very good class to farm that specific type of content with. And that kind of also brings up the question, are there going to be this kind of focus where certain classes are going to be better at certain league mechanics thanks to the ascendancy nodes or not? Because to me, it felt a bit awkward or weird. Thematically accurate, but it would be kind of awkward to have a situation where specific ascendancies would be stronger at certain types of content than others by default. That's just my current take on it. But let's dive into the other class, which is the Gemlin Legionnaire. The Gemlin Legionnaire is very, very interesting. This one is essentially able to socket your gems into your body itself. That's kind of like the thematic of this kind of ascendancy node, or ascendancy class, rather. And the first one is a 4-point node on the left-hand side called Crystalline Potential. This gives you 12% quality of all skill gems, and due to a wording change in Path of Exile 1, we can only assume that this is going to be for your active skill gems, not your support gems. However, it also brings up the topic of, will this work as a minion build because it gives you quality to those skill gems? And Jonathan talked about quality in the podcast interview I was running with my co-host Darth Microtransaction the other day, where Jonathan was talking about Gem Cutter's Prism, or also referred to as GCPs, where those were supposed to be an end game kind of mechanic or gearing increase for your character. And this ascendancy node gives you 12%. The second node being shown in this reveal is on the right-hand side, 2-point connector, and that is grants you 3 additional skill slots. Now, obviously, we're already going to be in a position where we're going to have a ton of different 6-link, but we also have to keep in mind that we are also only going to ever be able to use one unique support gem across the entire set of skills we have. So let's say you want to use the multiple projectile support, you're actually only going to be able to use one of those no matter how many skills you have. But having 3 additional skill slots works very well with the next node connecting to this, which is Thaumaturgical Infusion. What this does is giving you 1% to maximum cold resistance for every blue support gem that you have socketed anywhere. Fire for the 3 red and lightning for 3 green. And by adding 3 extra skill slots allows you to further and push down more maximum resistances this way. And having 3 additional skills does in fact help a lot when it comes to running a big, large minion army. And also, not to point out, the Mercenary starter location on the skill tree is not that far off from where the Witch is, which does give you the opportunity to potentially run a Gemlin Legionnaire minion build, which is quite exciting. The fourth node here that is being shown in the reveal is a 2-point connector on the right-hand side called Adaptive Capabilities, or Capability, actually. This makes it so that attribute requirement of gems can be satisfied by your highest attribute. This allows you to have a ton of different support gems and gems in general skills, while having a focus on one single attribute, unless you need it for your equipment, because your gem equipments are now going to be able to be satisfied by your highest one. So let's say you have a gem or a skill that requires 200 intelligence, and you have one skill that requires 150 dexterity. It's enough that you have one of your attributes at 200 to be able to use both of these, and that's perfectly fine. So if you go for something like a Chaos Inoculation or Energy Shield Focus, going into the Witch area, there's a lot of intelligence-related kind of thematic nodes there. They don't have to force you into intelligence because of the new system, but it allows you to have that kind of theme if you want to go for those type of layers of defense. And for example, you want to go to some accuracy approaches and using your crossbow for more of approaches of that kind of gameplay, you can go for that and focus on dexterity, and you don't need that much extra strength or intelligence to satisfy gem requirements, which is actually quite interesting. But those are the 2 ascendancy classes we have for the Mercenary going into early access, and I am honestly quite excited to see if we can make a minion build work on the Gemlin Legionnaire personally. I genuinely think it can work, but we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. Outside of that, I do feel like the Witch Hunter has the better potential of some interesting kind of crossbow ammunition based like kind of playstyle based of the nodes we've seen. Now again, there's still a bunch of nodes left that we have not seen yet. For example, the Gemlin Legionnaire, there's 2 nodes on the right hand side after the adaptive capability, and there's another 3 even notables on the left hand side that we have no idea what they're doing. So we'll see on launch. But again, needless to say, the Mercenary is bringing a brand new playstyle to the game, and I can't wait to try it out and see what kind of crazy builds we can come up with. But don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, stay safe and keep rocking.